Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Task Force Phantom Command Sergeant Major Adam Nash.
Wow, hey, this is really impressive. Good morning. I am Command Sergeant Major Nash, representing our Corps Sergeant Major Hendricks, who is currently deployed to CENTCOM. And on behalf of Sergeant Major Hendricks, I want to thank every soldier, every trooper, every family member, and community partners that are here to listen to our special guests. And I get the honor to introduce our first special guest. He's a great American. He is the Deputy Secretary of the Veterans Affairs. His name is the Honorable James Burns, and he's been serving this country for over 20 years in different capacity. He started off graduating the U.S. Naval Academy, so this being college football season, we do have to do a loud and thunderous, Go Army, Beat Navy. Yes, so I had to take a shot at that. But he did wear the cloth of this nation as a Marine Corps officer, an infantry officer, so we got to give him some credit for that. He works hard every day for the veterans of this country. Please help me give a warm Texas welcome to the Honorable James Byrne.
Well, thank you, Command Sergeant Major, for that kind introduction, I think. Hey, I'm incredibly glad to be here at the great place in such great company. Hooah. Fort Hood exports its talent to places like Iraq and Kuwait, Afghanistan, Korea, and elsewhere around the world, like the 1st Battalion, 8th Cavalry Regiment, 2nd Brigade Combat Team, which left last week for a 9-month deployment to Germany and Poland. We are so proud of how you represent our nation's values everywhere you go. At the Department of Veterans Affairs and throughout the Trump administration, we know that men and women like you protect our way of life and our freedoms, and are why we sleep safely at night. So thank you. We can never thank you enough for your service and sacrifice, but at VA, that doesn't mean we stop trying. Our biggest hope for you is that when the time comes, you have every opportunity to live life to the fullest as veterans in the country that you swore to defend. This nation has a strong history of helping our veterans. As World War II came to a close, President Roosevelt signed the GI Bill. What some feared was an expensive giveaway to veterans turned out to be one of the smartest investments America has ever made. Millions of veterans attended four-year colleges, community colleges, trade schools, and America excelled as a result. The 11 million heroes who returned from World War II did nothing less than reshape the remainder of the 20th century and launch our nation on a wave of economic prosperity that we are still riding today. So it's very exciting for me to look out over this crowd and realize that you too will have the same opportunity to better this country. Today's GI Bill builds on this incredible story and gives all of you the opportunity to attend college or trade school and get advice and career counseling even before you become a veteran. We're also helping thousands of veterans with guaranteed home loans and life insurance, and we can even support that small business you've always dreamed about starting up. And of course, you'll have access to a healthcare system that's improving every day under the Trump administration. The VA is the largest integrated healthcare system in the nation, and it now competes with or even exceeds the private sector when it comes to wait times and quality of care. And under new legislation signed by President Trump, veterans now have a choice in where and when they receive care. And so far this year, we've seen more than 2 million referrals to private care doctors. This administration believes in you and has your back. And now I'd like to call up someone who exemplifies what it means to serve this country. 30 years ago, he was commissioned as a young artillery officer, and since then has served honorably in Iraq and in Europe, among other places around the world. You know him well here at Fort Hood. Please help me welcome to the stage Major General Kenneth L. Camper.
All right, so thanks for being gracious to the Navy guy. We appreciate that, sir. Thanks for the kind remarks. And I just got a couple small things. We got a distinct honor today, and most of you all know that. We have the privilege of welcoming a staunch advocate of United States military service members and families. Now, he knows that because his dad served in the military. The Vice President's father was a lieutenant in the Korean War, earned a Bronze Star for valor during that conflict. His father-in-law served in the Air Force, and he's currently a proud Marine parent. His son flies jets in the Marine Corps currently. Now, I like the last line on the Vice President's website. It says, Vice President Mike Pence remains grateful for the grace of God, the love and support of his family, and the blessings of liberty that are every American's birthright. We're grateful today that the Vice President is here to visit with us. Please join me in a warm Texas Fort Hood welcome for the Vice President of the United States of America.
Well, hello, Fort Hood. It is great to be back in Texas, and it is great to be at the great place. And thank you all, and especially to all those troopers behind me, at ease. To Congressman Carter, Congressman Williams, Deputy Secretary of the VA Jim Byrne, General Ken Camper, General Jeff Broadwater, Command Sergeant Major Adam Nash, but especially to all of you, all the men and women of the armed forces of the United States of America. It is an honor to be here today at Fort Hood, America's hammer. And as I get started, allow me to bring greetings from a great champion of the armed forces of the United States, someone who's been working to make the strongest military in the history of the world stronger still. I bring greetings from your Commander-in-Chief and the 45th President of the United States of America, President Donald Trump. And I'm here today on the President's behalf to deliver a simple message to each and every one of you. From the heart of the American people, thank you for your service. We're proud of all of you. The American people are more grateful for your service than you will ever know. You come from the rest of us, but make no mistake about it. You are the best of us. And you are Army strong. And we're grateful not only to those of you who wear the uniform, but we're grateful to all of those who stand alongside you. So many of you serve every day as a family. While you train, while you deploy, it's your wives, your husbands, your parents who keep the home fires burning. So how about a big round of applause for all the family members who support all of you who serve. And the work at this historic base would not be possible without the contributions made by our civilian personnel, many of whom formerly served in the uniform of the United States. So let's hear it for all of our civilian personnel serving here on Fort Hood. As I look out across this impressive crowd, it's remarkable to think of the countless American heroes who stood where we're all standing today. Over the last 77 years, countless warriors have come here, and countless warriors have gone out from here, from this place to every corner of the world. Vietnam, Bosnia, Germany, Somalia, Iraq, and Afghanistan. Fort Hood, as Camp Hood, was established just months after Pearl Harbor, at a time of national crisis and the most destructive war the world had ever seen. And in just a few short years, Fort Hood helped us achieve total victory. Armored units trained right here overran the Nazi forces in Europe, and under the leadership of heroes like Staff Sergeant Reuben Rivers, who trained here before he gave his life and is awarded posthumously the Medal of Honor, he and all the soldiers who trained here at Fort Hood distinguished themselves and delivered a historic victory for freedom. Since then, as the challenges facing our nation have evolved, Fort Hood has expanded and the United States Army has risen to the occasion as well. More than 300 square miles, Fort Hood is one of the largest and most important military installations anywhere in the world. More than 35,000 of you are stationed here. And this is the only post in the United States capable of training 2 armored divisions at once. More than a dozen commands are represented at this base. It's amazing, including some of the most famous commands in the military, like 3 Corps, the Phantom Warriors, or the 1st Cav Division, or the 3rd Cavalry Regiment. You know, I just saw a great demonstration by the troopers of the 1st Cav. Very impressive. But then you all are. I mean, for 173 years, the brave rifles have been heard around the world. The 3rd Cav has served under legendary officers like General George Patton. Nearly 24 troopers from the 3rd Cav have earned the Medal of Honor. It's an amazing testament to their courage and to all of your professionalism. In fact, history records the 1st Cav has played an indispensable role in every major conflict in the last century. During the Korean War, the 1st Cav was the first in Pyongyang. During the Vietnam War, they came to the rescue of Khe Sanh, and they covered 180 miles in just 24 hours in Operation Desert Storm. 3 Corps deployed all over the world, from South Korea to Europe to CENTCOM. And generations of heroes have come through Fort Hood. And since September the 11th, 2001, it's been Fort Hood has played a critical role in the global war on terror in Afghanistan and Iraq. And that's why it's a special privilege for me to be able to stand before each of you today, because this past Sunday was a great day for America. Amazing. Thanks to the courage and professionalism of our special forces, and thanks to the decisiveness of your commander-in-chief, the world's #1 terrorist leader was brought to justice. The leader of ISIS, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, is dead. Now, we're grateful for everyone who made this possible. We're grateful for our intelligence community and all those who made this mission a success. But I have to tell all of you, to join President Trump in the Situation Room Saturday night and watch in real time as U.S. Special Forces descended on al-Baghdadi's compound, executing their mission the commander-in-chief gave them flawlessly, made me proud to be an American. Our troops, as the president said, were incredible. And by taking out the leader of ISIS, we've made measurable progress in the fight against radical Islamic terrorism. But as the president made clear, and all of you know, the United States of America will never relent in our commitment to the enduring and total defeat of ISIS and any terrorist organization that threatens our country. I know I don't have to tell any of you that the fight against terrorism goes on. 3 Corps playing a leading role in our 76-nation coalition to defeat ISIS. In fact, 3 Corps was there when by March of this year, our armed forces claimed the last inch of territory under the black flag of ISIS. The ISIS Caliphate's territory was defeated. As I stand here today, hundreds of your brothers and sisters in arms are deployed in that region as we speak. And heroes of Fort Hood have throughout the history of this institution also paid the last full measure of devotion on foreign fields of battle. And as the nation will pause to remember next week, 10 years ago on November 5th, terror struck at the heart of this base when a former Army psychiatrist opened fire inside the Soldier Readiness Center, claiming the lives of 13 extraordinary Americans. When I arrived last night, I stopped and paid my respects at the Fort Hood November 5 Memorial. I walked by the columns dedicated each individual one to the 13 men and women who fell that day. And I was deeply moved. Moved by the tributes to all of those that were lost, like Staff Sergeant Amy Kruger, who was preparing for a tour of duty in Afghanistan before that fateful day. Or Specialist Jason Dean Hunt, who had just gotten married 2 months before. Or Private Francesca Velez, who had just returned from a tour of duty in Iraq and was expecting her first child. You know, the Bible tells us to mourn with those who mourn and grieve with those who grieve. But we do not grieve like the rest who have no hope. For our faith gives us hope, and heroes give us hope. And as the 10th anniversary of that terrible day approaches next week, let me say on behalf of the American people to the families of our fallen and all of you brothers and sisters in arms, the American people are with you, and this nation will never forget or fail to honor the service and sacrifice of our heroes who fell on November 5th, 2009. That is my solemn pledge. They and their families will remain in our prayers. And to all the men and women who work and train and deploy from Fort Hood, let me assure you, the American people stand with you every day. And President Donald Trump will always have your back. President Trump understands that our nation's security depends on our military strength, and you are that strength. That's why from the earliest days of this administration, this president has taken decisive action to make this military stronger than ever before. In fact, I truly believe, when you look at the record of the last 3 years, You look at what this president has done for our armed forces and their families, for our veterans. I think President Donald Trump is the best friend the armed forces of the United States have ever had. In our first year in office, President Trump signed the largest investment in our national defense since the days of Ronald Reagan, including the biggest pay raise for our armed forces in more than 10 years. And you deserved every penny. Now, those investments wouldn't be possible without strong partners on Capitol Hill. And there's two of them who are with us today. I mentioned them briefly, but I want you to be able to show your thanks. So join me in thanking two great Americans who represent Fort Hood and this area in the Congress of the United States. But I'm telling you, I served in the Congress with one of them, and they are tenacious advocates for our armed forces and their families. Join me in thanking Congressman John Carter and Congressman Roger Williams. Thank you, men. With the renewed investment that this president and our allies in Congress have made possible, our Army will soon have nearly 300 of the newest M1 Abrams tanks, and I know a lot of them are going to be coming right here to Fort Hood. So get ready for new and better equipment. With our renewed American strength, we're once again embracing our role as leader of the free world. Under the leadership of President Donald Trump, we're standing with our allies, and we're standing up to our enemies. Our NATO allies are now contributing more to our common defense than ever before. And whether it's the fight against ISIS in Iraq and Syria, or the Taliban or Al-Qaeda, with your service and under this Commander-in-Chief, we've taken the fight to radical Islamic terrorists on our terms, on their soil. And whether it be in the global war on terror or manning the ramparts of freedom in Europe or the Asia-Pacific, the men and women of the United States Army have been the tip of the spear, and you always will be. You know, as I stand before you today, I can tell you from my heart, it's always humbling for me to have the opportunity to address men and women of the armed forces of the United States. Because, you know, for me, my life didn't take me into service in our armed forces. But I'm proud to say I'm the son of a United States Army combat veteran who served in Korea, Lieutenant Edward J. Pence. My dad came home with some medals on his chest, but he always told us kids the heroes in the Korean War were the ones that didn't get to come home. So I was raised in a family that understood the service that you have. And I don't mind mentioning, I'm also the proud father of a United States Marine. So maybe it's altogether fitting that I'm here as a family member of those who served and are serving. And also just simply on behalf of a grateful nation. Make sure you all know how much the American people appreciate everything that you do. It's my privilege to speak a word of gratitude to each of you on their behalf. But on behalf of your Commander-in-Chief, let me offer you this admonition. I want to urge all of you in these challenging times across the wider world, be vigilant, mind your mission, respect the unified chain of command, keep taking care of each other. Never doubt that every decision you make matters to the American people and to the security of this nation. Give America your best every day. The American people are counting on you. And given the long and storied history of 3 Corps and Fort Hood, we know we can. So thank you again for the warm welcome, and thank you for your service. I say that on behalf of a grateful nation, because we all know that your service comes with sacrifice. The truth is, you've stepped forward in a calling where you've decided to count our lives as more important than your own. And in generations that have gone before, in those that have paid the last full measure of devotion, you know the soldier does not bear the sword in vain. The American people understand the risks that you take and embrace every day. But as you do that, as you prepare, as you deploy, I want to assure you that you do not bear that burden alone. Wherever you are called to serve, wherever you are deployed, I promise you, you will carry with you the strength and pride of this nation, the support of the American people. You will carry with you the confidence of your Commander-in-Chief. And I also know you will carry with you the prayers of millions of Americans. Millions of Americans pray every day for all of you who serve and defend this nation. They pray in the ancient words of the psalmist, my prayer today